Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of the Fishing Teacher, and hope you guys are doing well, and really appreciate y'all coming by the channel to check the video out today. We're going to be having sort of a foundational, comprehensive talk on how current affects bass as far as how they position and some things that you need to know as far as to help you catch bass when you do have some current, because a lot of people, when they think current, they're thinking like a fast moving current with a river. But there's a lot of different types of current. In fact, even wind will create current. So based upon the strength of the current and the cover that's available, there's a lot of good information you guys should probably know on this. So I'm going to pass along to y'all what I have learned so far about bass and current. Before we get started, guys, just wanted to remind you about the holiday sale on my Solar Bat Series RB2 and RB3 series sunglasses. Right now you can get them at 50% off. If you guys would like to get a pair, I'll put the Solar Bat link in the description here. I'd recommend, guys, two different colors: the mossback color and the high contrast yellow. Mossback for like sunny days, high contrast yellow for cloudy days. So much appreciated there. Link in the description of the video. Okay, current is something that a lot of people think that, oh, I don't have to worry about current because I just fish a lake that doesn't have any current that comes through it. Every lake has current, every single lake, based upon a lot of different factors. I mean, if you've got a lake that is a power generating lake, you're going to have current sometimes. If you have a river type lake, say for example, like some of the Alabama Coosa River lakes like Lay Lake and Logan Martin, you can have a significant current because those lakes are riverine and they pull a lot of water and they generate a lot of current. And even if you have a lake that doesn't have a spillway that doesn't have like power generating capabilities, wind is still a factor that creates current. Wind will create current through a lake, so you're always dealing with current to some extent. Now, one of the things that I think a lot of people have to realize is there's a big myth in bass fishing that bass are like victims of the current and they have to get out of the current, and the only place you can catch a bass is in a current break. Now, there is some truth to this on areas that have a lot of current. If you're dealing with a fast moving current in a lake, when I mean fast moving, I'd say like 3 to 5 miles an hour, which is getting it pretty good. Yeah, situations like that, those bass are going to tend to be in those areas that break the current. Like say, for example, on the downside of a rock in the water or a log or something that breaks that current. That is true, because they don't want to be out there fighting that super hard current. But another thing that you have to realize is you don't really know what is under the water to break current. So let's say, for example, you see a laydown tree in the water, and you can see like this laydown tree, there's a little current break, on the back side of the tree, and that's where you want to make your cast. That may be a high percentage cast, but you still need to cast everywhere around the tree, even in the swifter current, because down under the water there may be a root wad or a log under the water that's breaking the current, so you never know. So the point of what I'm trying to say here is don't just feel when you get to a piece of cover that you've got to constantly be on the down current side, because you don't. Because I've seen them, guys, and I have caught bass on a light to moderate current, and say if there's a stump in the water, which is a perfect current break, I have actually caught bass all the way around the stump, in front of the stump when the current was hitting it, on the sides, like I said, they are not victims of the current. So that's one of the most important things to remember. Now, another thing with that is the type of cover that you're fishing has a lot to do with it, because most of the time when you're dealing with current, you've got two different aspects. You've got bank targets, like say undercut banks and rocks and logs and stuff that breaks the current on the bank. And then you have some offshore structures that are influenced by current. Say for example, if you guys fish a lake that has a lot of points or a lot of river ledges, there's still current on these particular structures. And one of the things that you have to realize in terms of offshore fish, like if you're fishing to drop off a ledge or a point, this is what will activate those fish a lot on those current edges, because it's the same thing. It's like when there's current being pulled through a lake, those fish are going to be down there on the bottom trying to find something to break the current a little bit based upon the extent of the current and how deep the water is. But in general, when you do have some current running through a man-made reservoir, it activates the whole food chain. It activates the plankton and the algae and the bait fish and the bass. So the current that is coming through a lake from a temporary pull of current, which is usually dependent upon like if they've had a lot of rain. So one of the times that they'll run a lot of water through excuse me, a man-made lake that doesn't have a lot of current in it is if they're trying to pull water through there so the lake doesn't get too high. We've all seen that. At other times when they're just trying to generate power, there can be some current being pulled, but it's not near as hard usually as if they're trying to draw the lake down. So those are the two main things with that. Now, wind will also create current. It's like you can have a lake that is stagnant, that doesn't have any, you know, outside influence of current being pulled through the lake. But if you have like a 15 or 20 mile an hour wind, that creates a significant amount of current through the lake. And that's another reason why fishing is usually generally a little bit better on windy days, because again, that current will activate the fish. Now, for me, it's like there's two primary lures that I like to use when they're generating current. One is if I'm fishing offshore, I like a crankbait, some type of a deep diving crankbait where you can get down, you know, whatever the zone the fish are in. That's a really good bait when they're generating current. The other is pitching and flipping, either a jig or some type of a creature bait. That's my favorite thing to do. If I'm flipping, you know, targets along the shoreline, it's either a jig, you know, something like a 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce jig, or some type of a creature bait's really good. So in general, guys, current is a positive thing. It's sort of like clouds. Most of the time when you do have current, the fishing is a little bit better. But the main point I want to make around this video here is don't feel that you have to like constantly look for areas that are breaking the current, because these fish can roam all the way around depending upon the strength of that current. So anyway, I hope it helps you guys out, and we'll talk later.